Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. This is episode 5 of the Journey to 2000 Fide. And today I played, so just this morning, I wasn't supposed to play today, and the team needed an extra player. We were missing a player, and so I last minute accepted. And it looked like the pool of players was a bit stronger. I didn't really know what, you know, what class this was, like if this was, pawn, knight, bishop. Usually that's how they divide the different teams. Anywho, my opponent today was Georges, and he was rated 1785. I'm currently at 1718, which they did actually put on the. They actually put my score, my new like up to date score, instead of my score that stays at 1615 for the entire year. And yeah, pretty crazy game today. Let's just get into it. I'm not going to spoil anything. So I have the white pieces and d4, of course. Knight f6. And basically, I'm going to try to go through this, guys, with the timestamps. I like to write down where I'm at with my time and my opponent, just to kind of remember like how much time I took, what the time was, because unfortunately you can't see, the live feed of the time. So anyways, my opponent took like a long time. I'm talking like 5 minutes on this move, which was kind of interesting. Like, is he just thinking about whether he wants to play a King's Indian? I actually was worried he might play c5 because that's a pretty tricky line. I was pretty happy to see e6. So anyways, e3, pretty typical, and c5. I knew the move was c3 here. Knight c6, knight d2. This is all good and fine, all pretty standard. And actually here, I didn't even think about this move. This is a mistake because you can immediately hit the queen with knight c4. And then actually, I believe on the next move you have, let's just take a look here. Knight c4, what's the best move? Queen just goes all the way back. Queen d8. Oh boy, that looks nasty. And then d takes c5. Okay, and if bishop takes, then knight d6 check. Yeah, that looks nasty. That looks really nasty. So I missed that. Unfortunately, I missed that. Queen b6 I was expecting, but for some reason didn't think of knight c4. So I went rook b1 here. Was thinking queen c2. Of course, I was thinking queen b3 as well, but I thought that if I displace my queen anywhere, he's probably going to go after my bishop. And probably win it. And I didn't want to. I didn't want to let him have my bishop. So I just moved the rook over. Computer doesn't love it, but whatever. d5, and then I play h3 here just to create some loot for my bishop. Not have to worry about it in case of any knight h5. Now I can move my queen somewhere else. Takes. And so at this point, let's see, we're on move 8. Okay, we're on move 8, and roughly the time is, I was still at full an hour and 30 minutes. You start with an hour and 30 minutes on the clock. You get, I think it's 40 seconds per move. But anyways, I'm still at a minute 30, and he's down to almost a minute 20, more or less. So starting to get a time advantage like I like to do in the beginning. Here I went bishop d3 instead of knight f3 first, because I thought maybe he'll go knight e4 right away, and like, let's say something like this. That actually, let's see, does that work? I was just thinking, I don't know, maybe he'll like do something like this, and this is better for white, but I just prefer when I know that they literally can't even put the knight there. So bishop d3 stops that, because then they're just losing a pawn. Anywho, so bishop d3 first, and then g6. So this seemed to make sense to me. Like, my bishop's pretty strong there, and now he's sort of transposing to some sort of King's Indian, like, I don't know, Grunfeld setup, whatever, with d5 instead of d6. Now I go knight f3 and bishop g6, sorry, bishop d7, castles. All like pretty standard stuff. I mean, as a London player, this is all really typical. I'm in a position that I feel pretty comfortable with. I'm planning on getting the rook over here, getting a knight on e5, maybe bring the bishop back, maybe playing f4, depending, but certainly trying to get a knight on e5. And basically it's just like white has an extra tempo. It's like black is certainly not putting any pressure on me, and it's kind of, I'm the one that's slowly taking the lead because I have a tempo more, and it's just a pretty boring position. So rook e1, Rook fd8, pretty typical. And whenever I see this, like almost always, it's time to put the knight on e5. Like I'm not going to let him. You can't let e5 happen. So I go knight e5. And my opponent goes rook a to d8, and I think this point in the game was kind of when I thought, okay, oh, let me make sure that my audio is on for the board. Okay, at this point in the game, I thought, okay, it makes sense, but I think this is maybe not the best move, and it's just interesting, right? Like it's just interesting. I thought maybe the rook would go more on c8, and then maybe he'd move the queen at some point and go for a minority attack, but he didn't do that. So at this point, I was just kind of stuck trying to find out, like, okay, what do I do from here? There's certain plans and certain patterns and ideas that you have in the London, but it wasn't super obvious to me. So I think at this point we're on move 13. So at this point, let me just check here. I think I took almost 10 minutes here to think, because I saw some ideas of bishop g5, pinning the knight, eventually bringing the queen out. I was considering knight b3 and then going maybe knight c5 because he can't stop it with b6, and then I'd be putting pressure on that bishop. But it's just kind of hard. It's like that's what's difficult, especially in these classical games, is trying to decide between several good-looking moves. Which move do you go with and why? And I decided, like, I now almost never go queen f3. I almost never do this in London, but I looked at the position and thought it looks like a good move. Like it looks like it's going to put pressure. I'm always trying to put pressure on my opponent, and I'm always trying to not waste moves. I'm always trying to develop a new piece each move, gain tempo. And so this move looked decent to me because, well, basically, if you're not careful, you're about to lose your knight. In one move, you're about to lose your knight, and then white is just flat out winning. And what else was I thinking here? Yeah, if he moves, like if you were to go after my bishop right away, there was ideas. Like I'm attacking f7, and there was some ideas here that looked pretty tempting. I can't remember what it was other than bishop g4. Anyways, he takes at this point, and I had calculated this through, so I figured he would probably take the knight at this point. I would take back. He would go knight h5. That's the only move, really. So I think actually what I remember now what I was thinking of. I was thinking of, is there a way to trap this knight? Because like this knight literally does not have any squares to go to other than here, and I was looking at maybe g4, but it doesn't really trap the knight. So anyways, d takes e5, knight h5, just as I had seen. Bishop g5 is what I had calculated, and then f6. And then my plan was just, I calculated up until about this point, and I just sort of naively thought, well, okay, but like if takes, like I'm just great, I'm a piece up. And this was a shortcoming with my calculation, which is that I needed to go further and think, okay, well, what if here, and then just like rook over, pinning the pawn. Now it's basically, I'm a pawn up, but not for long, and there's a little bit of pressure on my, my queen now. So this is what happens. And the first moment where I was like, oh, I felt super, super confident all the way up until now, and then I was like, oh wait, that isn't exactly how I'd calculated it, right? It's nice when you calculate something and then it happens exactly as you had calculated, and you would feel like you've already seen it. So I took a good while here. This is move 18, and I'm now down to 1:13. My opponent is down to 58 minutes, so I still have a time advantage here. I decided to go queen e3 because obviously there's could be kind of sketchy depending on where I put my queen, with the rook and the queen hitting f2. And I just kind of thought, well, what is your queen doing over here? Like if we just trade pieces, right, then I develop my rook. Rook can't really get attacked that easily. And it looked decent. Like I'm still putting pressure on this backwards e-pawn. So I decided to like, okay, just go ahead and take the pawn. And if you do nothing, then now I truly am threatening to, oh wait, hold on, no. If you do nothing here, you can take with the knight. What was I thinking here? What was the threat? If he does nothing... Oh, well, yeah, if he does nothing, I just take the bishop and I'm completely winning. But I also have, like, there's ideas, there's tactics. I can push the pawn with a discovered attack. I could just take the bishop. So he took, best move, obviously. Takes back with the knight. And then here is where we're really starting to get into the middle game. And this is where it's starting to get challenging. You really have to calculate. And it's going to, like, It's all about, okay, what do you know about chess? What do you know about positions? What do you know about this position? And see whoever sees it better, see whoever understands the position better, whoever calculates and has better tactics and so on. Because now it's getting pretty interesting. Like black has two center pawns, but they're backwards, and I'm putting pressure on this. So that was basically my whole idea at this point was I'm going to go knight f3. First of all, because I got to get my knight developed a little bit. You know, he's still hanging back here. And I'm just going to pile pressure on this e6 pawn. So I kind of figured this would be good. I was almost certain that knight f3 would be good, but I was debating the move order. So I decided knight f3 first, and then rook e1. And the whole time I'm kind of thinking, okay, are there any moves that I'm missing from black? Or is there any attack or any kind of move, threat, check, you know, checks, captures, attacks, blah, 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 that I'm not seeing? And I just made sure that's really what I'm trying to do, just to make sure you don't blunder. And yeah, I saw that black doesn't really have anything they can do. Like they can improve their position, but there's no crazy moves that I think are gonna force me into a more passive, like defensive position and give black the lead. Anyways, so we go here. A6 makes sense. Just taking away some of the squares from my bishop. And I took a long time on this move. So if we're on, let's see, move 22, at this point, move 22, I am now down to 48 minutes and my opponent is down to 56. So I spent basically 20 minutes on this one move, and I was thinking about all sorts of stuff. Basically, I was debating knight e5 or knight e4 to try to put pressure here. What I saw was that if knight e4, king here, what am I doing? The bishop can always slide back. And like, how am I going to win this pawn, basically? And if I'm not careful, yeah, I just didn't really see what to do from here. Like this bishop, I thought about doing this and then maybe swinging the bishop back around this way, or like swinging it around this way. I thought about playing c4. Let's just take a look, actually. Yeah, well, good thing I didn't do that because the computer doesn't like it. Knight d4 looks like it's good, but it's not the best move. After a long think, yeah, I was thinking about c4 right away here. Knight d4, bishop back, bishop, you know, all sorts of moves, but primarily knight e5 and knight d4. I went with knight e5. I figure, how bad can it be? I'm sticking a piece in front of the backwards pawns. I'm attacking the bishop, although it's defended. And this knight's probably better than that bishop, but I just thought, okay, how bad can this be for right now? I'll figure out what to do next. He goes back. And yeah, I thought this looked pretty good for black because, okay, this bishop is really passive, but it's doing a good job protecting the only weakness in black's position. And he's not cutting the rooks off. So the rooks are connected. So somehow it seemed like it works. Here I went a4 just to stop b5. I was not really sure how to continue here. I was a little bit worried about playing c4 because, yeah, I mean, like, what am I threatening to do here? Like, let's just say I take and he takes back with the knight. Like that doesn't look good at all. And it's opening up black's bishop. So I decided against that. Played a4 just to prevent b5. And again, I'm kind of looking at this position and thinking, what is black going to do? Like, what are they going to do? He's going to go here? Is he going to, no, that doesn't really look good. Can't go here. Can't go there. You know, well, we could start bringing the rooks down. But so I thought it was okay to just play a slower move and stop b5. My opponent goes knight d7. And at this point, I was thinking about all sorts of stuff. Obviously, the knight is now blocking the bishop from that pawn. So I thought of, okay, can I move this knight somewhere where I'm now attacking the pawn and can win it? Because really winning that pawn could win me the game. And then eventually I spotted that these rooks are pretty stuffy back here. They don't have a lot of space. So I went with knight takes g6. It's funny because when I looked at this move, I analyzed it quickly in the metro on my way back. I thought that it said it was an okay move, like it was good, but simply just because the eval bar didn't seem to go plummeting down. This doesn't work, unfortunately. This is a mistake, although it does, you know, this rook is a goner. Unfortunately, my opponent found what seemed to me like it was a good follow-up, like d4 immediately. I was like, oh no, wait, hold on. If I take here, then takes, let's say takes here, then yeah, then I'm just losing the game, basically. That's game over. So that didn't work, and I was basically debating between rook e2 and then taking, or I think those were pretty much it. I can take here, like I can just take on e6, but I just sacrificed a piece. So rook takes e6 actually, yeah, and then they keep taking, and that just looks really bad. So I went for takes and then rook e2, and it looks like the computer at least thinks that this continuation is okay. It's protecting everything. And I thought, okay, well, it's two bishops and two rooks versus two rooks, a bishop, two bishops, and a knight. So I basically, yeah, and then you got three pawns versus five pawns. So I'm up two, like I'm down. I've got two pawns and a rook for two pieces, and that's not great. And I don't know why I thought that this worked, but I got to this point and I thought, okay, I'm probably losing. This doesn't work. Yes, I'm hitting the rook and it's trapped, but I saw that he could either, let's see, at this point, I figured he might go, what are some of the moves here? Knight b8. Knight b8 is the best move. Knight b8. Because even here, it's two rooks and a bishop versus the bishop pair, a knight and a rook. And that's, and so I've got a couple more pawns, but that also didn't look overly convincing to me. So that's pretty crazy. I was thinking they might go, I think, what was it? No, not knight here, because that just drops the rook. Anyways, my opponent took on f2. I calculated this. I figured he might go with the bishop, because even this, like, takes, and okay, it actually looks like white is winning here. I'm a little bit up in material because we got, what's the, four pawns versus three. Yeah, no, this would be totally winning. So I don't know why I thought that he would do this. I did not really look at rook takes. He plays rook takes d2, and unfortunately, this doesn't work. This is a mistake. And I was really convinced it was not a mistake, and it was a really good move because, well, obviously, okay, if I take rook over here, now what do I do? What do I do? I just go here. I just go here. We're perfectly fine. And I'm up. And I'm up in exchange, basically. I've got two rooks and the bishop pair versus the bishop pair, a knight, and a rook. And I don't know how I didn't see this move. I don't know how I did see this move. On the clock here, let's see, we're on move 27. I have 37 minutes. My opponent has roughly 39. So he was up on time. He was at like 40 something minutes before that, and he was now up on time, but nothing like crazy. We're not in a time scramble yet. So yeah, takes, rook takes on f2. I decide to go bishop e3. That's a mistake. I didn't need to do that. I could just literally take this rook. Obviously, if he goes here, we're fine. And if he goes here, then just bishop back to e3, and we're totally good. You go here, or just, I guess I could just take with the bishop too. Yeah. I don't know what to say. It's crazy. Like, sometimes you find good moves, sometimes you don't. So I play this, right? Oops, no. I play this. Takes. He takes. This, all of this I had seen, and I just thought, yeah, like I saw this, I saw ahead, and I saw this was just like completely losing. But we're here, right? So black is now winning. I'm obviously hitting the pawn on e6. If I'm able to take that, I might have some chances of trying to get a draw. The rook is being hit by the bishop. You can't move, or I take the pawn, and then you give white some sort of a fighting chance. So the only real move here is rook e7. He plays that, and then I realize that I have knight c3, and this bishop is trapped, and you can't bring the rook back to defend, or I take it. You can't move the bishop. If I take the bishop, it comes with check. So whatever you do as a counterattack won't work, because let's say, for example, let's say you're going here, like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to attack your bishop. You take my bishop, and then I take, no, this comes with check. And okay, you go down here, and then I just move the bishop back somewhere else, and chill. And now it's white's winning, but it, material wise looks roughly even. The only move is knight b6. And I saw that knight b6. Okay, I just go knight, I just go a5, and there's nothing. You go here, I take, and I was just blown away. I saw this, and I immediately, I think after like a few moments, it took a few seconds. I saw this move. I was like, what? Is this seriously happening? Took a few seconds, played the move. He goes knight b6. I took, again, a few seconds. I had already seen this. a5. And I realized at this point, oh my god, I'm winning this game. I take the knight. He takes the bishop. I take the bishop. It is now 4 pawns to 3 pawns. Rook on rook endgame. And I have a very dangerous b pawn here that's freezing black's queenside pawns. And the biggest threat here is obviously rook c7. Rook c7 and it's lights out. There's no winning that. You either move the rook somewhere and give me that pawn for free, or you take it and then I will queen no matter what. So at this point, I see the win. It's basically a forced win as far as I can tell. There's not that many tricky moves black can play. This is all pretty much forced. You can't stop rook c7. So rook c7, rook e6, which is what I'd seen. Okay. And then takes to protect this. He's going to start marching this pawn like he does. So he goes rook e4 and rook b8. King goes to f5. Rook f8 check. King e5, and there's no way to stop that pawn. And at this point, my opponent resigned. Took my hand, resigned, and I was just blown away because I mean, it's pretty typical for my games I have an advantage at the opening, and then it's kind of a matter of, can I convert that, or am I going to blunder at some point in the mid game? And that, that's kind of what happened here. But what I did not expect for sure was to have that crazy move, winning the piece back. So overall, chess.com. Let me share my screen here for you guys. Okay, so we'll look at the screen real quick. So according to chess.com's analysis, I played with 85.9% accuracy. My opponent played with 75.2. I played roughly like a 2300, which sounds very nice, but I doubt that's in some ways very realistic. My opponent played like an 1800. I had 2 misses, 1 mistake, 5 inaccuracies. So could be worse, could be better. Unfortunately, no brilliant moves. I thought maybe I would get a brilliant move for that knight takes g6, but it wasn't. It was just a mistake. However, with this game, I am actually, in terms of the team matches go, I'm on a 6-game win streak, I believe. I'll have to check, but I have won 6 of my games in a row. I've only lost 1 game, so I'm on a winning streak here. I can't say the same for the tournament. I did play in that tournament real quick, and if I had gone on a 9-game winning streak, I would have won the tournament. So that obviously didn't happen. But with these team matches, my score so far is 6-1, I believe. So that's pretty exciting. The road to 2000 ELO on chess.com is like way behind, but for some reason the road to 2000 Fide has been going much better. So I'm feeling pretty good about this, and I don't really know when the next time I'm going to be playing, but it should be somewhat soon. So I will keep you guys posted. If you do want to follow the journey to 2000 ELO on chess.com, you can click on the video right here in the middle, and I will see you guys in the next episode.